Hello everybody and welcome to another video. Today we are flying the Boeing 777-200LR, which will be, if it all goes successfully, will be the longest flight I've ever done in a flight sim. Before, the record for me was I think around 16 hours and 30 minutes. This flight is indeed 17 hours and 13 minutes, so that's a good 30 to 45 minutes longer. And it will certainly be my record flight sim, and in real life technically too. So yeah, this is going to be really interesting. This is a plane where I wish autosave would work. I believe in 2020 it does work if you have FSUI PC, but 2024 I think got rid of it. We got rid of the save flight feature, or something is wrong with it. At least that's what I've heard and read. And so you can't really do it with FSUI PC unfortunately anymore. So I really hope nothing goes wrong, and I hope that PMDG in the future will also add or implement an autosave feature, which would be very, very useful. And it only makes sense, especially for long-haul airplanes. It's the only thing I really, well, it's not the only thing, but one of the interesting things that I find lacking in PMDG aircraft, because they're very good at catering to these kinds of features like auto step climbs, auto cruise, things like that, and all these different amazing options you have available for their products. I find it very interesting that they don't have anything like autosave yet. They've never had it, and I guess they've always relied too much on FSUI PC, which did work in the P3D days. It did work in the FSX days very well even, but they didn't have to. But I think it's time to make their own. I think so. But anyways, yeah, this is a long flight. The airplane is already powered up. We just need to get the FMC ready. We need to start boarding, all that good stuff. Unfortunately, the Jetway doesn't seem to be working. No animation, which is a bit of a bummer. But that's just the way it is at the moment. So yeah, we are running the Boris Soundpack. One thing I've noticed about the Boris Soundpack is, unfortunately, there are no real exterior sounds. I would expect some fans to be heard, the avionics to be audible from the outside, a little bit of the windmilling to be heard. Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't hear anything that has to do with the exterior of the airplane, unfortunately, which is a bit of a shame. Of course, later on you'll hear the APU, you'll hear the air conditioning, you'll hear the engines once they're running. But that's about it. Not that they're bad, the sounds. It's just I would have expected a bit more, honestly. Especially here, you don't hear anything. I don't hear anything. Nothing is there. It's kind of strange, honestly. I wonder if their CRJ is like that as well. It's been a while since I've flown it, so I can't really say. But yeah, that's a bit of a shame, I think. Hopefully they'll improve that in the future. So yeah, this flight is so long that this airplane is actually equipped with 3 aux tanks, and they are all pretty much filled up. The third aux tank is only 500 kilos short of being filled up. So we are pretty much maxed out when it comes to fuel, besides the 500 kilos that are missing. But yeah, that is incredibly impressive, and we'll be flying 17 hours and 13 minutes with this airplane. But we have, you can guess it, how much fuel we have on board. We have 19 hours and 45 minutes of fuel on board today. 19 hours and 45 minutes. That is absolutely ridiculous. And we are, let's see how many passengers we are. We're 236 passengers, so not all the way full, but pretty darn full considering how far we're actually flying and how heavy we are. We are, if we do reach our destination, we are just shy of 2 metric tons. Below, I think 2 metric tons? Let me check. Oh no, sorry, 20 metric tons below our max landing weight. And I already did some preliminary performance calculations to check what our maximum takeoff weight for today is going to or what the airplane is capable of today in our conditions, and we are, I think, only 1 ton below that. So yeah, it's a close call. But this plane should get it, which is pretty impressive. So let's go ahead and get started, and we'll get the FMC programmed. Alright, so welcome to the flight deck. You can already hear the Boris Soundpacks, which is really nice. Like I said, the interior, everything's nice. What I don't like is that I find the cabin to lag as well. You can hear a little bit, but I don't know if the real airplane would be this silent even without air conditioning. I just don't see that being too realistic. So you can see we're running 99. I actually filled them up all the way, just to have a little bit of extra. We're going to go to ground. We're going to request air conditioning as well. Verify that the packs are off and the recirculation fans are off, which they are. So we're expected to depart in about 30 minutes, so this is a good time to start GSX boarding. I don't think GSX actually fills up the airplane properly.
Boarding requested.
We'd probably have to do that ourselves. We'll see. But we're going to start with the FMC programming here. So 777-200-2 or .2. Eric is up to date. Engines are checked. Here we can see our prelim load sheet. So our zero fuel is 184.596, our max is 209, takeoff fuel of 162.143. Our limiting weight is our takeoff weight with an underload of only 1.6 tons, so not a lot. That is checked. We probably expect more like 4 or 5 people here. That's fine. Slot notification is checked. Alright, flight plan has been set. We'll do the overhead scan. Stays off. Movie speeds, TCAS off, checked. That's checked. Alright, that's checked and set. Pre-flight checklist. Oxygen tested 100%. Flight instruments, track 020020, altimeters 1017 set once, twice, 3 times, and checked within 35 feet. Pre-flight checklist complete. Alright, so boarding is completed. Our final reserve is 7.6. Alright. Well, let's do some calculations. 3 left. Import from aircraft 347 109 27. Import weather. Calculate. And there we have it. We'll take off, climb, no assumed temperature. We're taking flaps 15. Speed 164, we'll take 165, 171, 177. And we're gonna change that to 1500. Stop cruising 87 nautical miles. That is pretty impressive if we actually do make that. And now VNAV can be armed. This is checked. Alright, so let's go ahead and request a pushback and startup. And we'll do the before start items. Recall. Cancel ICAS. 4-star checklist. Flight deck door. Closed and locked. MCP V2177 track 230. Flight level 250 set. Takeoff speeds V1 165, 171, 177. CDU pre-flight completed. Trims 5.5 units 0 and 0. Passing takeoff briefing completed. Starting 2. Starting 1.
a good engine start.
Cockpit to ground. We have a good engine start. You can disconnect.
Up. Full down. Full left. Full right. Rudder. Full left. Full right.
Unlocking gear.
For taxi, recall checked. Anti-ice auto recall checked. Flight controls checked. Ground equipment is pretty much clear. We're gonna leave that up just to remind us.
Tow truck disconnected. Bypass pin removed. Left is clear. Right is clear.
Alright, so let's go and line up. Before takeoff check is completed. Alright, lights, camera, and action. Thrust set. 80 knots. Hold.
V1.
And rotate. Right here is coming up. On off. I'm not sure why the airplane wanted to go to the right. I have to use a lot of left rudder on that one. Alright, 5. Tops 1. flaps up. After takeoff check is complete. Alright, so you can see 16 hours and 21 minutes later, we have made it to our preparation point for our top of descent. And I knock on wood that nothing happens further, that we get to land without any issues and get to park at our stand without any issues either. So yeah, we are here and we're going to go ahead and plan with our descent into Hamad International. First things first, let's go ahead and select recall, verify nothing occurred. Nope, that's good. 1011. Pre-selected. Let's determine our landing weight, 23.8. That's checked. Import weather 290.020. That still favors runway 34 right. That's checked. Auto brake 3. Reverse all operational. None. 30. That's all checked. We'll calculate that. I'm pretty happy with that as well. So our top descent is in 100 miles. 140. That's about fine. All checked. Set navrad is fine. Our minimums is 239er. And we plan with auto brake 3. Then checklist, recall, check notes, checked, auto brake level 3, landing data VRAM is 146, minimums 239 feet, approach briefing is completed. That makes the descent checklist complete. And we're ready to go.
500. 400. 300. Approaching minimums. 200. Minimums. 100. 50, 40, 30, 20, 10, 5.
Okay, that's an interesting view. I've never had that before. Is that a bad scenery, or is that just because it's been such a long flight that it can't render it all? I'm gonna test it out later. But yeah, that stutter at the landing was brutal. I'm happy I actually caught that and was still able to land the airplane quite nicely. A bit of a shame that that now has to happen. And we're gonna park right up here. That's no fun. Pretty sure I'm not out of VRAM. Let's take a look. You know what? I don't think I'm gonna scrap the video just for this. This is interesting. Nope, I'm only using half of my VRAM, so it's definitely not VRAM. And memory is also only at half, not even. It's at 45%. So I don't think it has to do with anything like that. I was wondering why it was looking all purple from a distance. I thought those were the lights, and now I realize it's not. It's just the texture not loading. That's very interesting. I'll have to test that. I'm gonna restart the sim and check to see if this is an issue with the scenery itself, or if it's an issue just with performance and things like that, just because it was a longer flight. But good news is we've made it after 17 hours. So I have successfully flown the longest flight I've ever done in any flight sim ever. My second longest flight was also in MSFS, but I think it was in 2020. But yeah, flying this airplane feels much nicer than the 300ER. So it looks like that they have indeed, because my theory was that the 200ER uses the new 2024 flight model, and my theory was this one also has to have had it, or has to have it, because it came after the 200ER. And indeed that's the case. It looks like, at least it feels that way, because the 300ER flies like a toy plane, whereas the 200ER and the 200LR fly relatively heavily, which is nice. I like that. I mean, I'm pointing towards a scenery issue because, I mean, the ground textures are working. I don't know, it's difficult to say. Never had this issue, like I said before, and so I don't have... That's interesting. That means I have no way of guessing it, because I have no idea what what causes this. Okay. So APU is running. Alright, shutdown checklist, parking brake is set, shutdown checklist is completed. We might as well check that. Let's just see. There we have it. Seatbelt signs can also come off. Alright, so I've loaded back in. The scenery is not working. There is some good news to this, but it's also kind of frustrating that I didn't notice it. It was a install issue, so it wasn't anything to do with long flights and out of memory, things like that, which is a good thing because that means that I shouldn't have any issues like this in the future, and this is probably going to stay the longest flight I've ever done in the future anyways. So we'll see. But that's actually good news for me. Of course, it is kind of a shame that I didn't notice it earlier, but I do have a method of checking that next time. I'll keep the video in because I think it certainly was a fun flight, a long flight, and I think it deserves its video. And yeah, so thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll see you all in the next one. Until then, have yourselves a wonderful rest of the day, and peace.